Have you ever caught yourself saying that you will change next week, that you will wake up earlier when life gets calmer, that you will start after the holiday? The promise sounds gentle, but it steals more than time. It steals proof that you can trust yourself. This is a simple story about habits and how small acts done on ordinary days can turn a life in a new direction. No one begins with a perfect map. We all wake to the same morning light and the same quiet choice. Spend the first minutes on what is easy, or spend them on what will matter. Some people move through the day like builders who lay one brick with care. One brick looks like nothing. A row of bricks becomes a path. Other people move like tourists who take pictures of empty lots. They feel busy, but when night comes, there is no wall to lean on. Most of the difference between those two kinds of days is habit. Not a big plan, not a spark of genius, only a small rule that repeats until it becomes part of you. Noah was bright and warm and could make friends in any room. Teachers saw promise in him. He could learn fast, and he could talk his way through most tasks. He loved music, and he loved drawing characters with bold lines. His weakness was that he treated his moods like traffic lights. Green meant go hard, yellow meant scroll a little, red meant stop the whole day. He would start a workout and stop when the energy faded. He would set an alarm for early practice and then negotiate with the pillow. He would promise his sister he would help with her project, then show up late with a joke and a half-done page. None of this looked dangerous, but it created a slow drift. One day of delay felt harmless. 10 days left him lost. His friends moved forward in quiet ways. A classmate wrote a single page each night and finished a book by the end of the year. A neighbor saved a few dollars a week and paid for a course without borrowing. A teammate practiced free throws for 15 minutes after school and earned a starting spot. Noah felt the gap and told himself soothing stories. They must be lucky. They must not feel tired. They must have someone pushing them. The truth was simpler. They had habits that held when their feelings did not. The turn in Noah's life came on a rain-soaked afternoon. He ducked into a small repair shop to get out of the storm. Strings of instruments hung from the ceiling like sleeping birds. A woman with calm eyes sat behind the counter polishing a violin. She greeted him and asked if he needed help. He said he was only waiting out the rain. She nodded and kept working, a slow and steady motion that felt like breathing. After a quiet minute, she asked what he was trying to change. The question landed like a pebble in a pond. He told her the truth. I start things and stop. I want to become someone I can trust, and I do not know how. She wiped her hands, smiled, and said that she had a story. There was once a city filled with doors. Each door led to a room that shaped a person. One room for health, one for skill, one for wisdom, one for friendship, one for rest. The city gave every citizen a ring of keys when the sun came up. Each key opened one door, but there was a rule. A key kept its strength only if you used it each day. If you skipped a day, the key became a little harder to turn. If you skipped many days, the key rusted and the door resisted you. People in the city did not shout about this rule. They simply lived with it. The baker used the oven door each dawn, and the key turned smoother with every loaf. The teacher used the study door for a short hour each evening, and the key grew warm in her hand. The runner used the track door for 10 minutes when the weather was cruel, and the key stayed bright. There was a boy named Rowan who loved to collect keys but hated to turn them. He wore them on his belt and liked the sound they made. He would open the instrument door on Monday, play a tune, then leave it for a week. He would open the study door on Tuesday, read a page, then let the key sit in the rain. He would open the friendship door on Wednesday, send a quick message, then disappear. He bragged about how many keys he owned. Years passed. When Rowan finally needed the doors, the locks fought him. The instrument room stuck, the study room scraped, the friendship room opened a crack and then closed again. He ran to the locksmith, an old woman who had watched the city for a long time. She told him the truth. Keys do not respect speeches, they respect use. You cannot force a rusted lock with a perfect mood. You must oil it with a small daily turn. Choose 3 doors, turn them every day for a season, and the city will open to you. The woman in the shop finished the tale and placed a small metronome on the counter. She said that habits are metronomes for the soul. They keep time when feelings rush or fade. She asked Noah to choose 3 doors and to turn them for 1 season. She told him to make the turns so small that skipping them would feel silly. He chose drawing for 20 minutes, practiced scales for 10 minutes, and a brisk walk after dinner. She told him to mark an X on a paper calendar for each day he turned the keys, and to avoid breaking the chain. Noah went home and taped a calendar to the wall. He placed his sketchbook on the chair where he could not sit without moving it. He put his guitar on a stand by the desk, not in a case under the bed. On the first day, he drew a face. He fumbled through scales and felt clumsy. He walked while the sky was still gray from the storm. On the second day, he felt busy and nearly skipped, but the calendar stared at him with yesterday's X. He did the work. On the fifth day, he felt silly because the drawings looked stiff and the notes rang dull. He did the work anyway. On the eighth day, he wanted a perfect session, but he remembered the locksmith in the story and chose a small turn over a grand plan. By the second week, something quiet changed. He did not wake with a roar. He woke and reached. The 3 small moves began to happen before his doubts had time to form words. He missed a day when the flu knocked him down. He did not call it failure. He called it recovery. The next day, he placed a new X and kept going. He started to notice the world in a sharper way. Lines on buildings, the curve of a cup, the way a chord could feel like a door opening. He found a simple melody that sounded clean. He drew his sister while she studied and gave her the sketch. She taped it to her wall. Results arrived like the tide, slow at first and then steady. A teacher asked him to design a flyer for a small event, and he did a careful job. It was not perfect, but it was better than anything he had made before. A neighbor heard him practice and asked if he could play a soft tune at a community gathering. He said yes, then practiced the short set every evening for 10 minutes. He felt nerves flutter in his chest, but his hands remembered the pattern because he had turned that key when no one was watching. He performed, and the room gave him a warm smile. He walked home and marked another X on the calendar with a steady hand. The old fear that he was not the kind of person who could change began to fade. He felt pride, not the loud kind, but the private kind that grows when you do what you said you would do. His sleep improved because he was no longer wrestling with broken promises. His grades improved because he studied for a short time each day instead of waiting for storms of panic. His friendships improved because he answered messages and showed up when he said he would. He had not become a different person. He had become the same person on purpose. He returned to the instrument shop on a clear afternoon and thanked the woman. She told him that doors remain doors. Skip long enough and any key grows stiff again. Keep turning, and the city will keep opening. She gave him a small card with 4 words written in neat letters: little turns, long roads. He placed the card in his wallet as a quiet vow. Months later, Noah stood at the edge of a new choice. A larger project had been offered to him. It scared him. The old voice whispered that he was not ready, that he might fail, that it would be safer to wait. He looked at the calendar, at the rows of X marks that told the real story of his days. He realized that he had built a tool that would carry him through the fear. He did not need to feel brave. He only needed to keep turning the keys. He accepted the project and broke it into small daily moves. 1 drawing, 1 page of notes, 1 practice session. He finished on time and delivered work he could respect. If you feel stuck, take this from Noah's path. Habits shape your future in the same way a river shapes stone, not with a flood of genius, but with faithful drops. Talent is loud, habit is quiet. Talent shouts for a week, habit whispers for years. Destiny is not a thunderbolt. It is the direction that your steps repeat. Set the direction with something so small you can do it on your worst day, and then let time do its part. You do not need a new life before you make a new move. You need a move you can make today. Choose 3 doors: health, skill, wisdom, or another that matters to you. Give each a turn that is simple and measurable. Walk for 10 minutes. Write 1 paragraph. Practice simple scales. Read 5 pages. Place the tools where you cannot ignore them. Tape a calendar where you will see it at night. Miss a day and return the next. Protect the chain with care. You will feel the floor shift under you, not all at once, but surely. Change your habits and you change the story you tell yourself every evening. Change that story and you change your destiny in small, honest steps. Begin where you stand. Mark 1 X. Turn 1 key. Lay 1 brick. When doubt asks for proof, point to the trail of days behind you and keep walking. Your future will not be delivered by a perfect plan. It will be built by the person you become each time you do the small good thing, again and again, until the doors of the city open and stay open.